Hey everybody, welcome to Geek Rant. I'm Greg here on the channel with Sarah, and today we're going to be talking about Thor Love and Thunder, the film. Okay, so Sarah and I went to see this Monday night. Unfortunately, I was away at the weekend, so we didn't get to see it the opening night with all the with all that. So
shame.
That was a shame, but it was quite nice going on a Monday night because it was a bit quieter, wasn't it? So we could get some decent seats and enjoy it without too many people around us, which was nice. So yes, we watched Thor, and
We were really. That's how we felt walking out of it, wasn't it?
It was.
We were like,
totally.
oh, I'm going to have to sleep on that and really have a think about how I feel about that film.
It was, yeah, it's very different, isn't it, to a lot of the other Marvel films. It's like I see, when it comes to the first three, I really enjoyed the last one, Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, me too.
They got the humor just right. They got the level of that sort of slightly unusual world correct. It helped the fact that they went into that other universe with Jeff Goldblum, who is one of my favorite actors. I love him. I know he plays Jeff Goldblum in every movie, but I'm happy to watch that every time. And definitely. He gave it that element that could make it weird. They got into a weird world where they was completely different, loads of different alien creatures. It was all a whole mix, and that really worked. And this time, I hate to say it, I don't think it works. They stepped up the level of humor too much.
I know it was a bit of a caricature of Thor rather than
absolutely.
Because I feel like Thor's been on quite a long journey, hasn't he? Throughout all the films. I mean, obviously he's had his own films, but he's been in all of the Avengers movies, and he's had a massive journey. And I felt like he'd learned a lot on that journey.
Yes.
And in Endgame, he's obviously at the beginning of the film, he's just so angry and he's lost everybody. Yeah. And then he goes and loses his shape and binges himself.
Yeah.
But I felt like he became, so much had happened to him that he'd become a bit more of a serious character. And I do like the fact that he's funny.
Yes.
Chris Hemsworth is good at playing a funny character, but I feel like it was almost like the slate was wiped clean and all of that was gone.
Yeah. Yeah,
and he was gone back to being goofy and
it wasn't funny anymore, was it? It was just like he was thick or just like totally dense,
And like, so I mean, at the beginning of the film, you see Gore become the God Butcher.
Yeah, yeah.
And you obviously they basically do a breakdown of how Gore becomes the God Butcher. You see Jane Foster and the fact that she's actually dying from cancer.
Yeah.
And she's trying to figure out a way to cure herself, and she's drawn towards Asgard.
Yeah.
And then you see Korg, he does a little story about Thor's journey and the fact that he's been with the Guardians, and they have a little bit with the Guardians which they wasted completely.
Yeah, again, total waste.
It was amazing to see them in the show because I love the Guardians.
Yeah, I really like the Guardians. It
was ridiculous. It was just ridiculous, and
it wasn't like they were even properly in the movie, was it? It was like they were just like you said earlier, caricatures almost. They were just not like real characters.
It was so bizarre because they really missed an opportunity to kind of get them back in ready for their next film.
Yeah.
And I think that Thor was made to seem to be stupid, like, he's like, oh, it's just me. And I know that they're trying to show that the whole point is to say, oh, look, Gore's right, gods are all just selfish. But Thor's gone too far on his journey to still be like that.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
I don't believe that's
not that character. He jokes when there's a joking moment, but when there's a serious moment, it's not all jokes. He takes it seriously, doesn't he? And you've seen that in the original Thor, by Kenneth Branagh. That was much more like an old style movie, wasn't it? You know, he was much more serious. He was much more, you know, he had arguments with Odin. You know, he's having the problems with his brother. He was getting upset about all that. You know, that was very serious. When you got to Ragnarok, you know, he had lightened up a little bit, hadn't he? And it was just the right sort of humor. But then there was also these moments where he was having to fight the bad guy. You know, when he was fighting his sister.
Yeah,
it was totally serious, wasn't it? It wasn't a load of jokes. It wasn't a load of. I don't
feel like he ever got that serious in this film. Even when he was faced with gore towards the end, it still felt a bit ridiculous.
Yes.
I don't know. I was just disappointed because they've spent $250 million making this film.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just feel like we deserved a little bit more. And I don't know whether it's the director. He's very stylized, isn't he? Everything's got to be.
Well, he did the last one, but I wonder if he was held back a little bit on that one, and now they've said go for it. You know, just go for it and do what you want. You know, as an example, the things that they kept doing, you know, they kept doing this bit where he's talking to the hammer, where he's talking to the axe, and doing all that all the time. And then you kept seeing the axe just coming in, you know, to the screen, like I'm still here, sort of thing. And to me, they did that too much, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny the first time. But that was it.
But that's it.
If it was really that well connected to him, at the end, it wouldn't have betrayed him and tried to open up the doorway to eternity, would it?
Exactly.
It would have been faithful to him because it was his weapon.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
It had miscontractions. I mean, I did not enjoy watching the film, and obviously there was a scene halfway through that I could probably watch again a few times. But apart from that, I don't think I'd actually watch the film again.
I know. I think that's the thing. I've watched Ragnarok a couple of times since.
Yeah, I love Ragnarok. I've seen that 3 times.
Great, you know, but I don't really. I don't feel to myself. Actually, I'll go to the cinema again and watch it again. Or
no way.
I'm not that fussed. You know, you probably will if you're doing a bit of a binge on Marvel things.
Yeah.
And to go back and see some of the detail. But again, it's that they kept. I didn't really like the use of Korg.
No.
You know, they should have just done this story thing. You know, he does a voiceover story at the beginning, but they did that 3 or 4 times through the film, didn't they?
Yeah.
And there was one bit where I thought, hang on, he's making jokes about all the people that have died in his life. You know, like he's talking about his brother died, and then he died again, and then he died. You know, and it was like, what the hell? You know, why are we trying to make a joke about that? You know, that's one of the things that's really kicked his butt over the and
films. Made him who he is.
Exactly.
Which he's completely abandoned him.
Yeah, it was things like that which were like, hang on, some of the things can be serious, you know, and you know, when he was going and seeing the kids, you know, it sort of like when he was
that was ridiculous himself,
those bits were really stupid.
They were
as if he would have ever dealt with that. And
as if he'd ever been speaking to them like that. So I mean, the more I think about it, the more I think, oh God, it wasn't as good as I even think it was.
No,
it's so disappointing because I love Thor. He's like one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, I mean, Jane Foster, I thought it was good the way she went from being cancer girl to Thor girl.
Cancer girl.
Cancer girl. Actually, probably take that out.
No, that's staying in. That's staying in. Is
it? You really can't say that, can you?
I don't know. You just did. Let's get it back on a serious note here. We're turning into Tiger.
Okay. So basically, she went from. I liked the way she went from being ill to Thor and invincible, and then every now and again you'd see that really she isn't cured.
Yes,
and that was cool. I mean, I thought Christian Bale was excellent. He acted so well. He always embodies every character.
He is a really good actor, and I thought there was just a couple of times when I thought he's been asked to do too much here. For me, the beginning bit, right? He's in the middle of a desert, right, with his child. I was like, it doesn't explain why he's in the middle of the desert and why he's there, for one thing. So is that some god's fault that they were in the desert in the first place?
Yeah, I think, didn't it say that their God had abandoned them?
Yeah, he said that their civilization was coming to an end and that sort of thing. And that whole beginning bit I thought was just so like contrived. And like he came out, he then suddenly thought, I'll tell you what, I'll have a walk and see if I could. I think he was hearing the sound of the sword calling him, wasn't he? But he just walked in one direction. He found a little beautiful oasis with some water and some food, and there it was. This god was there that basically told him, oh look, you see on the floor there, right next to you, there's a sword that if you pick it up, you can kill gods with, Yeah. I was like, what the hell is this? What? It was the weirdest bit, And then I know he picked him up, didn't he? And then he the sword came out of the ground and he pulled it out of the ground. But I was like, what the hell? I thought I liked that when they kill them, all the gold sort of blood comes out and that sort of thing. But that god character was just a bit of a waste of time, wasn't he?
Yeah. All the gold blood was there so that because if it had been red, it wouldn't have been a PG-13. No, that's apparently what they were saying.
But also, if you're going to kill a god, that's
that's quite a cool way to go.
What might happen, and you see that throughout, don't you? The gold blood for the rest of for the characters, and what I thought was quite a shame was we didn't see more of Gore going off and killing a few of these gods.
Apparently they filmed him killing several different gods, and they cut them. And there's a call for a director's cut.
I was going to say, because there's talk of it. There's obviously talk of it, and they all talk about him killing. There's quite a few that the minor gods have all been killed.
The actress that played Cersei in Game of Thrones.
Oh yes, yeah.
She has sued them because they cut her. She sued them for royalties.
So was she a god that had been killed?
Because she's obviously a god that got killed.
Wow.
And then Jeff Goldblum, they filmed him being killed.
Oh no, did they?
But they obviously cut it because they thought actually they're going to want to use him in another film.
Oh, I see.
And they filmed, who was the other one that they said? Oh, there was one other that I was surprised to hear was going to die. It'll come to me. But so you mean you see that he kills the first sun god, and then you see a few other gods that have died, but you don't see him kill anybody else. And you would have thought that that's something we would have seen a bit more. I thought that was a
shame. I thought that was a real shame. Because then it would have
built up the anxiety a bit more. It was more about Thor being a plonker, traveling around on his goat ship on the rainbow, and going off to
again, like the goats thing was a bit, they kept doing the goat joke, and it was like, that was just do it once, it's fine, it's funny one time, and so that's interesting. I'd be interested to see what they did for those bits and whether they will produce that, because that might make it a bit more interesting, because at the end of the day, the fight scenes weren't mind-blowing, were they?
No, and there's a lot of town hall scenes and stuff like that. It's boring.
Yeah, we needed a bit more decent action, didn't we? I know a lot of it's CGI, but the majority of it was done in big CGI environments where you don't really take it in. When they went to that massive immortal world, where so when they go and see Zeus. I know we're bouncing about here, viewers, but this is like a mind dump,
Yeah, but this is what the film felt like. It felt like that. It was all a bit over the place.
Yeah. So basically, Thor had decided, right, we're going to go, we need to raise an army to fight this Gore because he's killing people. They'd come to Asgard on Earth, and they'd stolen some children, okay, to draw Thor in, to his shadow world. And then Thor said, right, let's go to Zeus, and we will we'll raise an army of gods.
Yeah.
And we'll go and sort this guy out. Wonderful. Right, great. I've not got a problem with the plot at all. I didn't think the plot was terrible. The plot was fine. It's like a Marvel film plot,
Yeah.
My one problem with the plot is towards the end with Gore. Then that's something I want to sort of bring up with you maybe later on.
Yeah.
And I know we're deep in spoilers. There's no none spoilers with us.
Spoiler on there.
Yeah. So they go to this immortal world. He creates a boat. They use this boat again. They're using the Thor boat. There's all these silly things that were
and they were taking all the chairs off.
Just don't be like that. Because before, when you first go there, you see all these flying boat things, don't you? Anyway, which are part of Asgardian life.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't use one of those, and make it less of, we've got a funny joke to do now. It's all and they go off, and Valkyrie goes with them. Now, Valkyrie for me was a totally underutilized waste of a character, really. There's a little bit of vying with Jane Foster about, have you told him yet, and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But she really didn't have much of a role. And the other thing I wonder about is, why do they call her King Valkyrie?
Yeah.
Can't she be a queen? No. I thought that was very strange. Being a queen? King Valkyrie. I just thought, maybe that's the only title they have in Asgard, but I thought that was a bit odd. So she goes along. They go to see Zeus, don't they? And that's when your favorite bit is. They go try and disguise themselves, but then Zeus calls them out, and he lashes him down. He does this, from the trailer, does the flick, and all his clothes come off. And from here, it's getting a bit silly, isn't it? Zeus.
It is.
Zeus is like, don't worry, he's not going to get to. He wants to get to eternity, and he's not going to get there. And Zeus was a completely I suppose he was just like on a permanent holiday, wasn't he? He wasn't interested in anything really. Very different to Odin. I think Odin would have stepped up and done something, wouldn't he?
Definitely.
If he'd been tasked with.
He was much more serious about his role, wasn't he?
I thought his bolt of lightning looked like the cheapest prop they could have bloody made. It looked like a bit of plastic or it looked like
acrylic, didn't it?
Acrylic painted foam board or something. It was the cheapest looking thing they could possibly muster. And I thought, couldn't they have done something really cool for that? Couldn't they have done something really amazingly cool?
Considering that's what they got out of it, a weapon, they could that was the main focus of what they achieved, so they could have done something better with it. I feel like that was just forgotten about.
And you would have thought perhaps some of the gods that were there might have said, no, I'm going to join. We'll come. We don't all have to go. Look, 10 of us go and we'll sort him out, And you would have thought there would have been, because there was hundreds of them, there's hundreds of gods there. They could have just they could have all just gone together, couldn't they?
But they were just there as props.
Yes, very much so.
I think it was just a bit hollow or shallow, the whole film.
Yeah. It was very, it was just CGI covered, wasn't it? It wasn't, like you say, very hollow. No real characters. You had a little bit of Thor, trying to work out what he's doing, but again, he doesn't feel like he's got a real path, does it?
But they get the weapon and they go off back on the ship. But the bit for me that was really disappointing was when he's on the boat with Jane and they're rekindling their love for each other. And she tells him that she's got cancer, and it's not enough of a moment.
No.
She is the love of his life, and He's almost like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Not like, oh my God, like not angry, he's the god of thunder. You'd think he'd get down on the floor and let off a bolt and be torn in two, finding out the love of his life has got cancer and she's dying.
That's a sort of motivation, isn't it, that they could have used for something else, like he could have turned around and said, right, we're going to get to eternity and I'm going to save you. My wish is going to be to save your life,
Yes.
He could have said that, couldn't he? It could have been really sort of like,
he could have, and when Gore has them both trapped and he's like, choose love, he doesn't, in Endgame, or was it Infinity War, when he kills Loki, he's more angry and upset about that. He's like, no. But when Gore's there with the two women that are most important in his life, he's just like, hardly expression. He doesn't have any expression. There's no acting. The acting's gone out the window. And I'm so disappointed. He
doesn't call upon his powers. Those creatures grabbing him. You know what I mean? He's like, hang on, this is Thor. He's more powerful than a shadow creature. Surely he could have just fought his way out of them and used the hammer. And
well, I think that he was trying to get him to call the axe, wasn't he? So does he not have his power when he doesn't have his axe?
Well, no, he does, because when you remember in Ragnarok,
exactly,
the hammer gets destroyed. Mjolnir gets destroyed, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But then he learns how to harness his own power, and that's something I've always thought they've not really done that after Ragnarok.
No,
they did a little bit. They did a little bit in this one. Sometimes his eyes went, and he sort of. But he had the hammer. He had the axe with him.
But he's so powerful, and yet they didn't use that at all. And his acting wasn't as good as previous films, and I didn't believe it.
No,
and it's disappointing.
It wasn't believable, was it?
I wasn't. Yeah, it's disappointing, really.
Yeah.
So I mean, they go off, don't they, with the lightning bolt?
Well, it turns out that if Gore can get hold of his axe, then he can open a doorway into to meet eternity. And the first person that gets there gets a wish of his dream. So this is my slight plot question. Okay. If Gore knew that, why is he killing all the other gods? Okay.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just go after Thor? Why wasn't his beef just with, I want the axe so I can go and do this? Because his wish is to save his daughter, not to kill in the end. But but he wanted to get there to be able to save his daughter, didn't he? To bring her back.
He changed. No, that's not why he went there.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not, Greg.
So you think he went there to destroy all the gods?
Yes, his
That's interesting, because I just thought he was going there to wish for his daughter.
No, Thor convinced him at the end.
Do you think? Okay.
Yes,
all right.
Thor told him to choose love. He told him you could wish for your daughter to be back rather than killing all the gods.
Yeah.
That's what happened at the end.
Yeah, but he would have. That's just crazy, because he would have thought of that anyway, wouldn't he?
No, because
I'm going to get my daughter back. Not to get.
He didn't think about getting his daughter back because he was so enraged by the fact that the gods had let him down. He wanted to get revenge. Right. So do you know when he takes hold of the sword and you see all those flashes? I was doing some research about it.
Yeah.
And apparently you hear a whisper from eternity say, come and get revenge. So he's thinking revenge. He wants to kill all gods to get revenge.
Right.
He's the god butcher. He was going to go there and make a wish to kill all gods. But Thor changed his mind.
That's why I've got the wrong end of the stick with it then. Because I thought he just wanted to get there to save his daughter, you see. So I was thinking, why does he have to kill all the gods then? Why didn't he just get Thor and get the hammer off Thor and then...
But equally, even if he wasn't going to do that with his daughter, if he was going to make a wish, why bother killing a load of gods? Why not just get Thor anyway and kill the gods under the radar without making everyone aware that you're going to kill all the gods?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? All he had to do was steal the axe and go
I suppose that sword as well was wanting to kill gods, wasn't it? So it was probably telling him to do it.
Would have been a bit of a boring film.
Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, no.
But then you didn't see him kill any gods anyway, so
no, they just talked about it, didn't they?
Wasted.
It was a shame. It was a real shame. They could have had some really amazing sort of fight scenes or things like that, you know. And
it didn't make you feel scared of him because you didn't see much of him killing anyone.
No.
By the time you get to the point where they're on the shadow planet, you're not that scared of him. You're not. No. You haven't seen what he's capable of.
No, exactly.
So
no, very true, very true. And it was pretty sword fight, wasn't it? Which wasn't. Wasn't any great. There's nothing I sort of think. You know, that was a truly great moment. You know, that was a truly great fight scene, or that was a truly great. You know, I think that's the shame of it, really. The other one that I was the other thing I was a little bit dubious about was at the end where all the kids are there, you know, and he used them all with the power of Thor.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I can get on board with that, because it's like, well, if he's had that ability to do that, give other people the power of Thor.
Yeah, that's true.
Why hasn't he done it? But when Thanos was trying to destroy the world, why didn't he imbue 20 people with the power of Thor and kick his ass? You know,
and he's had so much control over it. He even stipulated that they'd only have it for one evening.
Exactly.
So he could have said, "Have the power of Thor for a week."
Yeah. Now, could he have only just worked that out? Do you think he?
No, because he hasn't learned anything in this film.
Because he'd said to his hammer in the past, "Oh, always look after Jane for me."
Yeah,
that's why they were doing the talking to the hammer thing.
To
justify why she was now able to hold the hammer and be, you know, Thor.
Yeah,
it's a mess, isn't it? It's really
a mess. I blame the director.
Yeah, I'm disappointed with what they've done, you know, and I like Thor. I liked.
I love Thor.
I liked the first film. The second film was not so. It was a bit dull. Wasn't as good.
It was okay.
But Ragnarok was great.
Yeah,
that was the kind of level I think they needed to set it at. Some serious stuff, but with some jokey stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But I think you do need a character a bit like a Jeff Goldblum to help with those kind of scenarios. You know, he brought that out a bit. They're in a weird environment, and I think
they just turned Thor into complete joke. When you think about the way that the Guardians felt about him at the beginning of the film, they couldn't wait.
They didn't like him at all, did they?
And in the previous films, they were looking at him like he was a god. Yeah. You know, they were amazed by him.
Yeah, when they first find him after Infinity Wars, they're like, "Oh my God, he's like a
yeah." And now they can't wait to get him out of the place, and that's just ridiculous because he's a god. Yeah. Everyone would want a god on their side.
Yeah, but I know.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about the film, I can't think of any amazing moments, but I can think of some really stupid moments, like the moment when in that same scene when they're fighting his first fight, and he's holding two bikes with his leg.
All that like was really stupid.
Like, oh my God, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Stupid. That was just stupid. I did not laugh.
He'd just become a real dick, hadn't he? You know?
It's so disappointing.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like he got emotional enough with Jane. They didn't go on a good enough journey. She dies, and at the end there, he's not that sad about it.
No.
The little girl is his daughter in real life. That is his daughter.
That's his daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, okay. And Love and Thunder are her and him.
Yes.
So when the wish is made and Eternity brings the daughter back, the Eternity gives her the power of a god.
Of
the god love.
That's why I didn't understand why she was shooting lasers out of her eyes.
So she's got the power of the god love.
Oh.
And apparently they're going to be using her, and that's that idea in other movies.
Oh, right. So she's going to become a character then.
Yeah.
Again, it was a weird ending, wasn't it?
But yeah, it was a really weird ending.
It was a weird ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd hoped that Valkyrie was going to die when she got stabbed by Gore.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, oh yeah, she should die. One of them should die, you know. But she's just gone back to Asgard. I mean, I was ashamed because she was quite good in the Ragnarok film.
She was, and in the trailer there were a few scenes of her looking really cool, like when she's licking the blade and stuff, but they don't put that in the film. She looked like she was actually going to be quite wicked, because Valkyries are pretty cool, aren't they?
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
she seemed
flat,
more like the Men in Black character that she plays. You know the film Men in Black? She seemed like that more in this film than a Valkyrie.
Yeah, she wasn't a king. She wasn't, you know, it was.
No.
Yeah, and when he came back, he kind of took over, didn't he? You know, when all the townspeople had been attacked, and then in the town hall, he sort of said, she was going, come on, you do this and you do that, and he came in, right, everybody, and he sort of took control, and they were like, oh, it's Thor, you know, and that sort of thing. So she didn't really convey, you know, although she wasn't organising things, she didn't really convey that power of a monarch that they were all listening to and obeying.
And when he went to go and talk to the children, like you said earlier, it was ridiculous. But there was one kid who is the son of Idris Elba. Yes.
Heimdall, yeah.
And I was feeling so frustrated with Thor at this point, but he the little lad, he was like, oh, just go away. He says to Thor, just go away. And you just think, this is ridiculous. You're telling a god who's supposed to be trying to help you, just go away because you're fucking annoying. Yeah. And I just thought, well, that sums it up. I feel like that. I think, fuck off, because it's so fucking annoying. And I just felt disappointed by the whole thing, really.
I know. It was
6.5, I reckon.
6.5.
Yeah.
Well, I'm lower than that. I think it's 6. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't.
I'm really disappointed that I've had to rate it that low. I'm normally quite generous with my ratings.
You are, and he was naked in it as well.
I know.
I mean,
but he was too muscular.
He'd
gone too far. He looked ridiculous. Gone too far. Yeah. He doesn't need to look like that. He didn't need to do that. He's fine just as he was.
He's getting a bit older. Maybe he felt the pressure that he's got to be still.
He's not getting older. God, he's younger than me. Believe it or not.
Brilliant. Okay, well, are we recommending people to go and see it in the cinema?
I mean, if you're a Marvel fan, absolutely go and see it, because you've got to. But
otherwise, it won't make any sense.
You can wait until Disney comes. It will only come. It'll be like 12 weeks, and it'll be out in Disney.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, there we go. That's what we thought. Thanks for watching with us today. If you like what we're saying, obviously press the like button and subscribe. You know, we'd love some more subscribers. And if you want any comments, you know, what did you think about Thor? Was he a complete idiot or a complete, you know, hero? Let us know what you thought, and we'll try and reply. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers.
Bye.